So I am Michael Moreci. I'm a writer. I'm writing the backup stories for Rise of Skywalker. That is a BB-8, R2-D2, and C-3PO espionage mission, if you can believe it.
I'm John Barber. I'm writing the other stories in those issues, and it's Chewbacca and friends defending his home planet of Kashyyyk against the First Order.
Oh, it's wild, like I never, even though this is my second go around with Star Wars, I feel like what I did before wasn't so tied to something so mammoth. Not only just a movie itself, but also the movie, the last movie.
Yeah.
The last Skywalker movie.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've been making up what happens to the Star Wars characters after Return of the Jedi since 1983. It's amazing that it's actually you get to do it.
Oh,
you get to tell. Okay, here's a little bit about what happens to Chewbacca on the way there. We haven't had a chance in any of the Star Wars comics. I think any of the Star Wars comics, but any that we've done that have taken place right now in the Star Wars universe.
No,
it's always been old stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. Yeah. So we get to see some. It's always good seeing Chewie and Kashyyyk. Those are good stories. Yeah.
And I love the droids. That was my. The first Star Wars thing I ever wrote was the droid stuff. So I love them.
Wow.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're sometimes
the cartoon and everything. I was
a
big droids fan.
Oh, the droids cartoon. Oh, bring it back. Well, it's like John says. It's I've been doing Star Wars fan fiction basically for a good, I don't know, over 20 years, 30 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So being able to do it and now know that it counts and it's real. This is real, It's so exciting, so exhilarating. So there's a leap that you take where it's oh, this is. I literally have notebooks filled with Star Wars stuff, and so to be able to be oh, this is real stuff and it's going to count and it ties into these really just important stories. It's amazing.
Yeah, one of the things that took me by surprise, the first stuff I wrote, when you started writing these characters, I've been thinking about how these characters talk for as long as I've been thinking, that was really great. Now I have Chewbacca, so it's all, honk!
Yeah, you're right, and I'm writing beep, beep, boop, boop, boop.
Navigational outposts, as I understand it, and then also the Wookiees are just if you can capture a bunch of Wookiees, if you can make them do what you want, you can get a lot done. Unfortunately, so they're a prime target for that kind of thing, and I feel like they get underestimated and looked down upon by the Empire, by the First Order, for having that primitive style. They're not lesser than anybody else. Obviously, they're a whole civilization with their own cultures and their own ways of life, and so I feel like they do get kind of looked down upon, especially by the bad guys in Star Wars. That's why they're the bad guys.
Right. I always boil it down to three things, and it's funny because I've in my notebook, as I've been working on the comics, I went and watched and read a lot of especially the Rebel stuff, because some of my favorite stuff, and it boils down to three things. Is that team adventure, something to do with the close-knit relationships of likely family or something like family, and something however loosely doing with the Force. I think it's those three things is what a Star Wars story satisfies in some way. You can maybe not have the Force, that's becoming more flexible, but that's what I find is that is the three things, the boxes to check.